And hello, everybody, and welcome to once again another stream. My name is Roman the Weather Guy, and today we will be covering Tropical Storm Alberto. Yes, it is finally here, and we are finally getting ready to cover this pretty concerning event here, actually. Just real quick, let me mess with my settings real quick, just real quick. Okay, okay, wait, okay, we're good. So yeah. Uh, Covering Tropical Storm Alberto. Big, it's a big deal around here because this is the first tropical cyclone of the season. Um, so we're gonna go over what's happening around here in these areas and stuff, and we will just cover it as it happens. I really don't know how long the stream will be. Um, I expect it to be somewhat long. But yeah, so we are covering, Tropical Storm Alberto here. Last update was now, just 13 minutes ago. Uh, Wind speed 40 miles per hour, max gusts of 50 miles per hour, and it is officially Tropical Storm Alberto. West storm, it's moving west. In its location is still here in the Gulf of Mexico, right around here in this area. Um, and it's millibars, 995 millibars. So we do have a pretty big storm here, and you can see that a lot of the tropical storm force winds are like reaching all the way up here, way north of the storm. So even if you're like near Port Isabel, South Padre Island, you may already be getting tropical storm force gust winds because this storm is incredibly large. It covers a widespread area. So we're gonna go ahead and disable real quick. We're gonna go ahead and disable our. Uh, just gonna go ahead and disable stuff like that. Okay. So yeah, so this is what we're looking at right now for Tropical Storm Alberto. You can already see some of the outer bands here starting to reach up into the extreme southern Texas. So near Port Isabel, South Padre Island, Los Fresnos. It is already, you're already feeling the effects there of this big old storm here that's moving in. So that's what we have happening here. So a lot of the outer bands, are already, you're already feeling it in Port Isabel, Laguna Vista, South Padre Island. But more concerning is the areas near Corpus Christi, where we have the strongest of the outer bands, I think, interacting with, Corpus Christi and areas near there, near Port Aransas, Port Lavaca, Seadrift. All these areas are getting impacted by heavy rain and storm surge. We've already had, you know, a few storm surge reports coming in around Port Aransas and Corpus Christi. We're going to go ahead and read those real quick. So this storm surge report was at 6:32 a.m. yesterday near Corpus Christi, North Texas. Emergency manager said most of the roads on North Beach have been closed. Here's this one in Port Aransas from a CMAS station at 12:54 a.m. on June 19th. Saying 2.42 feet um, of surge there. And then here, this was 12:54 a.m. as well yesterday, June 19th. Emergency manager said flooding of beach across road at Whitecap Beach near Whitecap Beach. Having a pretty concerning situation here with Tropical Storm Alberto starting to happen here, and you're starting to feel the effects if you're in southern Texas, near Corpus Christi and all those areas. This is a pretty This is a pretty big event here for a lot of us because this is our first tropical cyclone of the year officially. So if we go ahead and go over here to satellite, we can see this is what Tropical Storm Alberto looks like currently, right now. This is what Tropical Storm Alberto currently likes right now. So right now it looks like this, but this is an incredibly large storm that is reaching all the way up here in Corpus Christi areas. You're starting to feel it down in Campeche City most likely. This is just a very large storm, and yeah, crazy. Because you see, I can play the radar back here, and you can see that it's moving southwest. So a lot of these storms are moving southwest because they're swirling around the main circulation. So we need to really keep an eye on that because we do have a marginal risk here in play for a lot of San Antonio, Houston, Galveston, all these areas. Houston, Galveston, these areas. You're starting to feel it too. You got some thunder showers and thunderstorms moving on onto the shore here near Galveston. That might cause a problem. But yeah, so we do have we also have a mesoscale discussion here saying flash flooding is possible. We're going to go ahead and read this. So this is concerning south central to southeast Texas, concerning heavy rainfall, flash flooding possible. Summary: the broken outer rain bands associated with potential tropical cyclone 1 will be arriving this morning across south central to southeast Texas. Heavy rainfall rates and eventually some concerns for training convection will support a gradually increasing threat for flash flooding. Potential tropical cyclone 1, now tropical storm Alberto, remains situated down over the southern Gulf of Mexico early this morning, but the broken outer rain bands around the northwest flank of the system circulation are approaching the middle and lower Texas coastlines and will begin to move inland over the next several hours. So that is what we're worrying about here. Could have some flash flooding today. And we already have a lot of problems here near Corpus Christi, Port Aransas, because a lot of this storm has already dumped quite a bit of rain here near Port Aransas and Corpus Christi. So you've already gotten around 1.3 inches of rain if you're in Port Aransas. If you're near Taft, you've probably gotten a little bit more, maybe 4 inches into some places, maybe just 1.5 inches in some places. But yeah, so definitely you're feeling the effects over here in Corpus Christi, Port Aransas, and areas near Taft. And you're going to keep feeling the effects of these storms. We're going to read this marginal risk here in play. So we do have a marginal risk associated with these outer bands of storms here. We're going to read it. Low level shear will increase this afternoon into tonight along the Texas coast and inland across South Texas, along the northern fringe of the western Gulf Basin tropical system. 850 millibar flow is expected to increase across South Texas such that sustained updrafts will likely rotate. High PW and strong low-level shear favors some risk for a tornado or two in these areas. So we could have a tornado threat here as well, guys. So you really need to, be concerned if you're around Corpus Christi, Port Aransas, really just in any of these areas. Because if we, turn on, we're gonna go over here for a second. So if we turn on, the tornado threat for today, you can see that we do have a 2% chance of a tornado or two within an area near Houston, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, of course, Port Aransas, Victoria. Good morning. So we're talking about tropical storm Alberto, our first tropical cyclone of the season. We're gonna go ahead and turn on the track for that. There we go. So yeah, we're talking about tropical storm Alberto that just now formed with sustained wind speeds of 40 miles per hour and max gusts of 50 miles per hour. We just had this update 22 minutes ago. Uh, so we are officially underway for the Atlantic hurricane season, and a lot of Corpus Christi, Port Aransas areas around here are starting to feel it actually because there's a lot of storm surge reports coming out of here. So it's getting pretty concerning out here in the outer bands here of tropical storm Alberto. So we need to be aware about that. There's a lot of heavy rain, near Port Aransas and Corpus Christi. So this could cause a flooding problem. There is a mesoscale discussion for flooding around here. But yeah, we're just kind of currently covering, tropical storm Alberto and, uh, just everything happening along with it. Thankfully, a lot of these storms aren't rotating quite yet. They could definitely become dangerous as they move on shore here and they start, getting into that um, pretty good environment for tornadoes. Also, we're not just covering Tropical Storm Alberto. Sorry. We do have, a couple marginal risks here in play for a lot of, central New Mexico, stretching into the Oklahoma Panhandle and a little bit of southwest Kansas and the Texas Panhandle. But we also do have another marginal risk up here as well for areas stretching all the way from Kansas City up all the way through Davenport to Madison through Milwaukee. So keep an eye out for that as well. And also a big marginal risk here. Sorry, a big marginal risk here stretching from eastern Indiana all the way up through, Ohio, Cleveland, Toledo, Detroit, Lansing, all the way up through a little bit of Pennsylvania, especially Erie, all the way up into New York, Buffalo, Rochester, Albany, all these areas, Utica, Syracuse, all the way up into Vermont, New Hampshire, and then Maine. So areas like Augusta, Portland, Concord, Montpelier could be impacted. We already have a special weather statement out here in Vermont. At 11:18 p.m., sorry, at 11:18 a.m., Doppler radar was tracking a strong thunderstorm over Swanton, moving east at 20 miles per hour. Hazards with that is wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour and pea-sized hail. So that hail is most likely falling around areas just west of Sheldon, right here in Vermont. So back down here to Tropical Storm Alberto. Areas near Matamoros, Port Isabel are feeling it. We already have a tropical storm warning in effect. This has been in effect for quite a while. And it just basically says, locations affected: Brownsville, Harlingen, La Feria. The wind, latest local forecast, below tropical storm force winds. Peak wind forecast 25 to 35 mile per hour with gusts to 35 mile per hour. Threat to life and property that includes typical forecast uncertainty in track size and intensity. Potential for wind 39 to potential for wind 39 to 57 miles per hour. The wind threat has remained nearly steady from the previous assessment. The plan for hazardous wind of equivalent tropical storm force. Uh, Prepare. Remaining efforts to protect property should be completed as soon as possible. Prepare for limited wind damage. Act. Move to safe shelter before the wind becomes hazardous. Potential impacts include limited damage to porches, awnings, carports, sheds, and unanchored mobile homes. Unsecured lightweight objects blown about. Many large tree limbs broken off. A few trees snapped or uprooted. But with greater numbers in places where trees are shallow rooted, some fences and roadway sides blown over, a few roads impassable from debris, particularly within urban or heavily wooded places, hazardous driving conditions on bridges and other elevated roadways, scattered power and communications outages. Remember, threat to life and property that includes typical forecast uncertainty, track size and intensity, little to no storm surge flooding. Flooding rain. Latest local forecast. Flood watches in effect. Peak rainfall amounts. Additional 4 to 8 inches with locally higher amounts. So we're talking about a lot of rain for these areas. A lot of rain for these areas. So yeah, if you're in Corpus Christi or anywhere near Port Aransas, you should be inside today. Don't go outside at all. If you have to, just be really aware of potential storm surge and flooding rains. Please, please, please. We already have a lot of rain moving into Corpus Christi. Um, Already, probably some localized flooding here for these areas, and we already do have that. Actually, we do have a flash flood warning now for Corpus Christi, Texas, for Aransas County, Claiborne County, Nueces County, Refugio County, and Patricio County, Texas. At 10:27 a.m., Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between 1 and 2 inches of rain have fallen. Additional rainfall amounts of 2 to 4 inches are possible in the warned area. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. Hazard with that, flash flooding caused by thunderstorms, radar source, flash flooding of small creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets, and underpasses, as well as other poor drainage and low-lying areas. Here are some areas that will experience flash flooding. Corpus Christi, Portland, Robstown, Rockport, Sinton, Port Aransas, Taft, Corpus Christi International Airport, Ingleside, Aransas Pass, Odem, Gregory, Ingleside on the Bay, Bayside, Corpus Christi North Beach, downtown Corpus Christi, Cole Park, Del Mar College Heritage Campus, Driscoll Children's Hospital, and Del Mar College Windward Campus. Turn around, don't drown. So that's what we have ongoing here in Corpus Christi. A flash flood warning in effect for Tropical Storm Alberto's outer bands here as they come in and then they swirl in. So that's what we're looking at here. So all of these, outer bands are going to be moving, southwestward at least. Or it might look like they're heading directly west for a moment. Um, that's because, this storm is spinning this way. Since the storm is spinning that way, a lot of the, outer bands and basically the main storm is going to be moving that way. And then it'll be going down here soon. kind of checking these areas. We have a couple people out here, a couple spotters actually, trying to ride this out, including Brian Adkins. He's in Port Isabel. Trying to figure out if there's any areas that could be getting hit by this. We're currently watching the Dickinson, uh, Texas. Currently watching the Dickinson, Texas camera here. See how fast those clouds are moving up here. And that's associated with a lot of, light ray here associated with Tropical Storm Alberto. But, look at this. Special marine warning here for a storm near coastal. From coastal waters from High Island to Freeport, Texas. At 10:27 a.m., a strong thunderstorm is located near High Island, A179, moving west at 15 knots. Hazard with that is wind gusts up to 40 knots. You can see that this is a pretty strong storm that will be moving onto the coast here in a little bit. Be moving towards Galveston, Tiki Island, areas around there. And you can already see, it's raining very heavily within the storm. There's probably some lightning associated with this storm. Just so please, be aware of this. And it could also be uh, trying to rotate here as it moves onto the shore with that 2% tornado risk as well. So a really strong storm here, folks. Lots and lots of, heavy rain falling. We also do have
Yeah, we'll continue to watch that.
I am this area, northeast of Fulton, Texas, because it does look like there could be some weak rotation here associated with these outer bands here that we really need to keep an eye out for. This could tighten up and try to produce a brief tornado near Holiday Beach. Really don't want that happening.
Have some problems with the wind where we actually get into damaging wind territory of 60 miles per hour there.
So that latest scan does kind of show some tighter rotation here that we might need to monitor. That does look a little tighter than the last scan, not very much though. Still kind of weak. Well, you really need to keep an eye on that. Of course, downtown Corpus Christi getting hit now by some heavy rain.
Feet, so not likely the whole city. No, I mean, it's not like we're talking about entire cities being submerged. It's not like catastrophic storm surge. The storm surge is going to be the worst part of this. But it's still not going to be that insane because keep in mind this is a tropical storm, not a hurricane, and it's also not even making landfall in Texas technically. So it's not like this is going to be anything super duper crazy. But again, it's going to be pretty interesting, especially for the first of the season here. Not too often we already having tropical storms make impacts here on the United States in June, and impacts as serious as this as well. So that's kind of why we're live here. If this was just happening in the middle of the season, we wouldn't be paying quite as much attention. It'd still be live, but yeah. Anyway,
Really sore from yesterday. My voice is kind of, shot, but it's fine. Still eyeing our area of rotation near Holiday Beach, Texas, for any, for anything, further. I don't even know what to say. Anything further concerning about this storm near Holiday Beach. I do think this is our only storm that's at all rotating right now, coming from these outer bands of Alberto. The latest scan does show, it kind of letting up a little bit. It's still pretty strong, though, near Holiday Beach. Oh, we really need to keep an eye on it. It's not incredibly strong yet, but, with these outer bands, anything could happen. Anything could definitely happen. We do have a lot of video coming out of Alberto of, Have a lot of video coming out of areas near Treasure Island, Surfside Beach, Brazoria County, San Luis Pass, areas near there in Texas. Of a lot of storm surge and homes like flooded and wow. So we really need to keep an eye on that. Our special marine warning over here near Galveston. Um,
Yeah, that's a good question.
so yeah, our storm here near Galveston still looks pretty strong. As these move on shore, they could inherit a tornado risk. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they're already rotating quite a bit here off the shore of Galveston, but when they move onshore, they could also, become a pretty concerning situation there. Our storm, still rotating near Holiday Beach, just not incredibly. Um, but as this goes on, it will inherit a tornado risk at some point. Thankfully, not a lot of storms down here near Matamoros, Port Isabel aren't rotating a lot, but they are dropping heavy rainfall. Okay, our storm near Holiday Beach looks way less impressive. It's still there, but it's not as strong as it once was. I don't know how much live I'll be for longer. I just wanted to kind of cover this real quick before, if anything pops off later, I'll be really, yeah, I'll be there to cover it. Kind of just on our storm here near Galveston, though. So if you're in Port Lavaca or Corpus Christi, anywhere near here, I would be really concerned, going on a day. I would stay inside. I would um, only go outside if you absolutely need to. It's not very windy, but it's bringing storm surge up. It's damaging some homes. It's a bad situation out there. There's a lot of radar contamination out here. You can see all that. That's all radar contamination right there. Still just really eyeing our storms here, moving on to the coast near Galveston. These could absolutely inherit a tornado risk as they move on. They are rotating a little bit. Still kind of need to keep an eye on our storm here near Galveston. Rotating quite a bit here. Rotating quite a bit. See our reds going against our greens here. So as that moves on to the shore, that could absolutely become our first tornado warning of the day. Our storm near Holiday Beach barely has any rotation.
Holiday Beach, but this isn't even close to as strong as the one out here is.
Still kind of eyeing our little area of rotation here near Galveston. Going back down here to Corpus Christi to see, if anything is still happening. Yeah, our rotation here near Holiday Beach has just died out entirely. I don't think I'm going to be live for much longer just because, we don't have any tornado warnings. We don't have any, like, anything crazy going on. I would absolutely be live still for a while if it was like a severe weather outbreak or tornado outbreak or whatever. Wow, our rotation here near Galveston is really strong. We really need to keep an eye on that. How about, I think I might end stream here just a little earlier than always, just because there's not a lot going on. I just kind of wanted to cover what we have currently going on. currently going on. So I appreciate everybody coming out, and I will be back later today. Bye bye.